Hello everyone, Ægion here, another Steel Division Normandy 44 replay. So on the left side, as the Luftlande, we have myself. This is a replay that I just got done, a game that I just got done playing, and it was a very good replay, or a very good game, thus it's going to be a very good replay, hopefully. And I'm going to go ahead and start casting it. As my opponent, we have the 101st Airborne. Both of them are airborne divisions. Well, Luftlande is technically an infantry division with airborne elements. So it's like a mix between a reserve unit and a what's it called? And a airborne unit. So I'm just going to say of what I was planning and so on and so forth. That's why I'm starting this replay a bit early. Basically, this map favors the left side favors long-range engagements, while the right side, favors close-range engagements. In other words, airborne engineers and Fallschirmjägers. So both players have a good defensive advantage, while the offensive advantage is not exactly good. First initial scuffles in the game will happen here. I send some units thinking a machine gun placement could get right here, as well as some supporting Astros troopers and officers just nearby, but they get rushed down by more units, airborne rifles, airborne engineers, which is very hard to deal with, as well as an officer unit to inspire them. And he got to the structures first. I did send Oflug along with him, but he's going to get burned alive, and he's dead. So much for that that I ace. I do also have a Panzer III. I do have some various infantry units across the line. Fallschirmjägers right here. My number one fear is our airborne engineers in this forest land, which there is one. Hence why I kept this guy back, so he can make use of the open ground. I do have some Fallschirmjägers here. They can still have good range across these hedges, as well as an officer unit nearby to inspire them. Pack 40 just to be safe for any vehicles, as well as some Astros troopers to support them. In the center, I have these this Panzertruck team just ready to ambush any vehicles that are coming forward. There's also some Astros troopers to support them. MG34 guarding at that forest line. He has some good line of sight, as he really does cover quite a bit in this area. But this area with the airborne engineers is going to be a hard nut to crack. I do have this Panzer III. I'm just going to keep it back, try eye as much down this road as possible. But that's about it I can do right there. Dealing with airborne engineers is incredibly hard for almost all Axis divisions. We have this 50 cal. It spotted my AT gun, which was firing some HE rounds back. Since the 50 cal does have the extended range of 800 meters rather than standard 600 meters. But the MG34, I know the Vickers, I'm not sure actually the Vickers, the 1919 A4 has a range of 600 meters. And I think the Vickers as well, as well as the 1917 for the Rangers. This match is going to come down to what my plan is. My opponent has superior income, so my plan is to hold the line around, hopefully at 50% for the first part of the game as long as possible. As with plus 20 income, that is quite a bit. Once Battle Phase B comes around, I can start coming back for the income, start leveling it back out, and then I'll start to pull ahead in income and Battle Phase C. And this was a very important here. I managed to snipe whatever unit was inside that transport, which means this flank was not collapsed upon. Where I realized, like, oh, he's going to make an advancement through this forest. I don't really have any good defenses in this general area, as Astros troopers are not exactly good for defense. The cannon fodder. And the Pack 40, that 50 cal, does have quite a considerable range coverage. So I quickly brought forward a bunch of Astros trooping officers. Astros trooping, they're 10 points, they're cheap, they're good cannon fodder. And it's surprising to me also how this 50 cal is able to do so much suppression to the MG34 in heavy cover. I mean, The VTCal does have more accuracy, but the MG34 has higher rate of fire, as well as being in heavy cover. And look how much suppression that VTCal did. Quite a bit. And they both have 9 HE. I guess that additional accuracy really does pay out. Over here, I'm worried about AT guns moving forward right now, so I brought in a reconnaissance unit as well as a SD44 to quickly kill off any AT guns to help support the area. My idea is for this reconnaissance unit to move forward along this hedge line, get it increased star of veterancy, which allows it for increased optics, trying to hopefully spot units at the edge of the forest. We have a bazooka team. The Stu is taking fire. Panzer 3 lost line of sight. But the Stu does miss. But we'll force the evac of that unit. There are bazookas already on this squad, so really I don't really understand why people like to get these airborne bazookas. I guess it's because they're dirt cheap, but airborne rifles already have bazookas, so it doesn't augment the force, it's just a cheap alternative. It is, you get 2 of these versus 1 airborne rifles, but rather prefer 1 airborne rifles because that is an actual fighting squad. Panzerstrikes, however, on the other hand, are not carried by any combat infantry unit, and they do have extended range, which makes Panzerstrikes actually quite important, rather than the bazooka teams, which are not exactly important. Got these airborne units starting moving forward. Luckily, the Fallschirmjägers are veterancy 3, thanks to nearby officer. They do also have very good positioning. They have heavy cover. These guys in light cover, so they will be suppressed. Airborne engineers trying to move forward. I do have my infantry finally moving forward up this area. And I'm sending in some more cannon fodder, trying to see what there is. I noticed this AT gun being shot up by my MG34, which is a very nice pickup, because that is that AT gun which allows my vehicles to have more freedom in this area. Because if you were to start entrenching and setting up some AT guns in this front line, I will have trouble. I didn't really get much. I didn't really focus on artillery or mortars on this deck because I'm primarily going to plan on using the aircraft, which brings another key point of me fighting this game: air superiority. Both decks have a very large, wide arsenal of aircraft to make usage of, which means air superiority, whoever wins that will probably generally win out the game. Neither side has deployed AA weapons yet or a single aircraft, so neither side is worried about the air war just yet. You have now a good defensive force of SD44 in this area, which should be able to hold back any assault, but this 50 cal is very effective and does have a significant range. Now we do have pack howitzers starting to be set up against me. Pack howitzers are very effective, they do have very good range, and any sort of counter artillery I bring up won't really be able to reach them. Though I do have I do have the Russian Zis guns, was it? Available on the deck. I just didn't really bother building them because with my opponent having superior income at the moment, I need to establish a front line, and with enough cannon fodder, I can hold the line. SD44 are excellent cannon fodder. Machine gun fodder, MG fodder, rifle fodder, flamer fodder. Over here, those pack howitzers did do quite a bit of suppression, but luckily this MG team will hold a line for somewhat. We have this Fallschirmjäger unit. They have moved up to the center bush line, trying to get another line of sight on this area. I do also have some more reinforcing Fallschirmjägers. My opponent is starting to bring out a lot of locusts, which are light armored. In the Panzer 4, well, Panzer 3 here will generally win out versus them, but I can never be too careful. Plus, he hasn't really pushed forward all too much. He's fearing basically a huge defensive line here, which I really have nothing there. I do have the Stu doing some good damage, preventing reinforcements from coming this line. If my opponent needed to bring his reinforcements across this area here, which is not a road, so it's very slow to get reinforcements to this general area with that Stu there. My opponent is at 51%. He has sustained some tickets. But now this officer nearby will inspire these nearby Potion Jaegers, and this is a very good base of fire to set up. The MG34 is doing quite a bit of suppression, just doing some, nothing huge amount, but just general harassing my opponent. I did in fact bring in the HS129B3, but I lost a vision of the M22, so I was trying to do a strafe upon them, but I lost sight. So I was unable to do any strafes. And the Potion Jaegers are move forward. This is a severe amount of firepower coming down on these units. Potion Jaegers are basically the best long-range infantry unit in the game. Other than the specialist roles, I'm saying. Just journalist infantry, they are the best. They are the best. Other than airborne engineers at close range. Now I do have that pack howitzers now raining fire, and he's bringing up another pack howitzer. Not exactly good for me, and my opponent is now got 52% of the map control, which means +1 income. It's not exactly good for me. Luckily, this advance is starting to fall back. My Potion Jaegers are starting to run forward. You also have these Potion Jaegers here, but they're going to get outflanked. There are two Thompsons here, which are generally better at close range than at FG42s. So overall, and this guy's being 2v1, so he will get ripped apart. Overall, in the northern flank, I have generally good control, but the southern flank is still not very good. Do have a decent amount of defense versus a rush between these light tanks. That was my primary concern for a time, but he did not move them forward. He does not believe he could win and advance an attack, and I can't win an advance and attack. So it's a bit of a stalemate down here. We have some more MGs moving forward. Airborne M1919s, as well as this 50 cal, so there's a lot of anti-infantry in the area. Luckily, I do have a very good force of Potion Jaegers holding down this general hedgegrove and orchard. These pack howitzers are being problematic. I don't really have any counter to them at the moment. It is at the Battle Phase B, but I do have Battle Phase C Ju-88s heavy bombers, or 25 HE bombs. Are very good at clearing out those positions, but that's Battle Phase C. This is Battle Phase B. I do have a rocket running aircraft coming forward. Fine, I think it's going to hit this 50 cal. I do have some of these Potion Jaegers, a bit overextending, doing some good amount of work. Browning was in fact suppressed, and Polygon going for a couple MG runs. No AA is on the field. Pack 40 also pitching in some HE rounds is one reason why I love the Pack 40. It has a pretty decent HE rounds to go along with it. But now I have a little bit of a bulge here, but can't extend too far forward. What I can tell is my opponent only got a single card of Airborne Engineers, the 4 slot. And we do also have the first dogfight on the field. We have 3 aircraft versus my 2. This one's falling back, so I'm not really counting on it. But I did manage to shoot one of them down. Now just leaving down these 2. This guy is a bit suppressed. I'm microing my aircraft, trying to make them bring the tightest turns possible. Switch between the aircraft so for a more favorable engagement. But this guy is severely wounded now. He's smoking, and both of my guys are a bit grouped up, and he's going a very bad direction. It's very disconcerting, very fearing that he's going to go down. I did fall him back. I think it was a good moment to do it. At this ME-19 is trying to draw his fire, and he's actually going to let this guy go, focusing on this aircraft. And getting 2v1 like this is a bit problematic. I'm trying to constantly increase my turn radius, aim for the aircraft where I think I can get some shots off. I'm constantly microing this aircraft. His aircraft are just circling around. But due to my micro, sometimes it does pull a wider circle, but so he does start to take some hits here and there. Mustangs do have good agility, and the ME-19 has very good agility, but 2v1 is not exactly ideal. At the moment, my opponent has air superiority. Though I did shoot down one of his, but I will lose this aircraft, meaning it's a 1-for-1. I do have up to 4 air superiority aircraft available in my deck, so I have 3 of them potentially left. I have 1 of them deployed. Probably by now, on the next couple of ticks of income, I'm probably going to bring in the other 2 just to be ready, because I also do have a rocket running aircraft and the HS-129B3. So I need to claim air superiority, or else those aircraft are dead. Or dead weight if I'm not going to deploy them, or dead if I do deploy them. I do have another wave of cannon fodder moving forward. The Stu is doing some good support roles, as well as the Panzer IV. The Panzer IV only has 1 HE, however. Not exactly too effective. Panzer IV, Panzer III. Now, with that dogfight, I realized I need to deploy some anti-aircraft weapons. If I can try to bait him over my sector and then kill them upon my opponent's aircraft upon retreat. I bring in this rocket running aircraft just because I know my opponent's aircrafts are on cooldown or on reload, refuel, so I know I can do a quick rocket run and able to take out that Jeep. I did see the Jeep thanks to this reconnaissance unit. I'm not exactly sure actually. It was actually these Jaegers that spot them. Having high ground, able to see over the hedges. And looks like my cannon fodder retreating once again. Try to move forward over here. SR are receiving a lot of fire. Got the Browning, got the airborne rifles, which means the SR won't be able to do all too much. Do also noted this M1919. Which means that is another MG I have to worry about. Airborne engineers here are right next to my Panzertrack team, but they don't see him. These pack howitzers were completely refilled by that airborne Jeep. Not sure how much ammo that airborne Jeep actually had left. I have this reconnaissance unit now engaging the airborne rifles. They do have quite a number of SMGs, but they're just way outgunned. There's a lot of firepower coming down upon them. They do get a number of men, but they only are 4 versus, what was it, 12? These Brownings here just denies any infantry advancement, because I know there's bazookas, so I can't move forward with vehicles. So I'm pretty much sending this cannon fodder to just try to force recon, have my opponent waste ammo upon them. Generally, just cannon fodder. Constantly trying to apply pressure. They're cheap, they're dirt cheap. I can afford losing them. It still just does not have the range to reach in these forests. I do at this point force fire at the ground, which I do actually get some good suppression down the general area. Force fire on the ground is something I really need to do more often. It allows me just to reach the edge of the formation, allowing to help me suppress them. Overall, this bulge is becoming problematic. There's a large number of infantry units there. I do have some Volkswagen makers guard the flanks, but I do have these Esra just trying to reclaim as much ground and, of course, to recon the area through blood. Gathering just a little bit of area here granted me the 51%. Granted him 51%, not 52, which means the +1 income is no longer available. I do also bring up a Stu trying to help support this area. There's some very good, nice high ground up here, allowing you to shoot over these hedge lines, making some pretty good support area. So the high ground is quite important right here. We do also have an AT gun to help cover that area, but it is only the M3, only has 8 armor penetration. You have a rocket running aircraft as well as the rest of my air supporting fighters just on standby, ready to engage my opponent. The rocket run is trying to hit this M15, trying to to displace it, but we do have air supporting fighters now incoming to engage my rocket running aircraft. And I noticed they're starting to circle back, so I decided to go back myself and actually decided to fall back. No point trying to, I'm not going to get anything, so might as well just fall back. My opponent's trying to engage with his aircraft, trying to do some strafing runs, but my AA will more than handle it. My SD44 has spotted the M1919, but of course, they're cannon fodder. Have now Pack Howitzer barrages trying to displace my AA weapons. That is very smart of him, because he knows that I'm also an air style deck, which means I'm trying to fight control over air superiority. Sherman tank's starting to move forward. We'll be starting to hit my Panzer III, and of course, the Sherman tank is much more superior than my Panzer III. Sherman tank. I do have my first Ju-88 coming in. A couple bombs will take out the AT gun as well as for my primary target of the Pack Howitzer. I do have a Mustang forward. He's deployed out of his 4th available aircraft, and I'm going to swarm him down. I do have the HS-129B3 engage the Sherman tank while this air fight's going on. When I have air superiority, might as well do the damage I can. Did get the tracks and wheels damage, but it didn't take it out. This guy was forced to fall back thanks to nearby AA. But one of those airborne Pack Howitzers are now down, which is quite important. Now it gives me much more breathing room for my emplacements. Control still at the 51%, which means he's not counting up. I'm bringing in some more SD44 in order to help saturate the area. This Stu is in a bit of a precarious position. I put it there earlier, and now there's a bazooka unit now approaching, but luckily these guys were on attack move. They start engaging my SD44, which means my Stu has time to react. We got my opponent has deployed out a couple aircraft. My rocket run did come on in. I don't know where exactly it fired. I think, oh wait, I thought the air, I knew those unit right around here, so I did a rocket run to that general area. We'll actually take out the airborne rifles. Very nice. Sometimes you have to blind fire all this stuff, and I hate blind firing because I don't know if they're actually dead or not. We got a forward OP of naval artillery. There's only minor units here, or a small amount of units here for such a powerful bombardment. But there's still some important units on the left. The Pack 40 is important. The AA weapons are important. You have this air superiority fighter just trying to bait these guys forward over my AA weapon. I do have also my other aircraft ready to go. Also, he's out here for spotting. I believe I have a unit ready to call in for, I think it's another Ju-88 ready to bomb. So I'm trying to use this guy's also for vision to see if these aircraft are still loitering around. We got another bombardment in this general area. That bombardment did do quite a bit of damage to these units. Now I'm starting to deploy out some Fusiliers. I do have a significant amount of infantry in this deck. Strupens, the elite Fallschirmjägers, Fusiliers, the Instruct team, the Abwehr, I don't really know. Panzer Abwehr. Do have another bombardment coming down. Once again, hitting very minor targets, but we'll take out the AA weapon, which for something that's strong, it's really not doing a whole, not really paying itself. Yes, it got impact 40. Yes, it got 2 flak 88s, not flak 88s, flak 37, 36 millimeters. Generally, that's not a huge loss for 2 bombardments. Another Ju-88 came on down, bombarded the other pack howitzer. Now all of his artillery is dead. I do also have a rocket running aircraft moving forward in order to engage this Sherman tank. The Sherman tank is, with the Pack 40 now down, while is a bit problematic actually, because now there's nothing here to really stop this Sherman tank. I did decide to bring in a flak 88 iron to help dissuade the Sherman tanks as well as hit any aircraft, help improve my air superiority. Stu up here is doing some good work, has a very large line of sight. Well, this is generally incorrect. By what I can tell, they can easily shoot above these hedge lines. Show you, he is above the hedge lines. It means he can actually shoot over it. Another, what's that? Did I call it? Yeah, I think it did. There was Ju-88. I decided to bomb this Sherman tank to prevent its advancement. And we do have his last naval bombardment coming on in. Now this is a juicy, important target. And an I-4. I do have the HS-129B3 coming on in order to engage this Sherman tank, as well as some air escorts, as well as ready to instantly deploy in Flak 88. 129 is coming on in. It destroyed this Sherman tank, actually. I queued up the moves, but occasionally when you queue up moves, it does in reverse sometimes. But taking out that Sherman tank is quite nice. My opponent is sending some interceptors out. I do have 2 air superiority aircraft in the air. As well, I decided to deploy the Flak 88. Flak 88 does pitch in quite a bit of suppression there, and well, it does get a direct hit, causing that aircraft to nearly go down. Also bring in my 3rd guy, which will come up the rear of this guy. Will prevent the being shot down here. Does shoot this aircraft. Does shoot this aircraft. And now I have air superiority. This is the key moment of the game. Gaining air superiority with 2 airborne decks. Which means I can bring in all of my air force to bear. The Sherman tank does in fact go down to the Stu. It was such a such high HE damage upon it. The Stu actually managed to take it down. The Stu's actually used up all of its HE rounds as well without losing its gun. Now I do have Fusiliers moving forward. They do have AT grenades as well. I'm trying to bring this Panzerfaust Panzerschreck unit in order to engage the Locusts. Once again, the Locust is firing upon the Stu. This tells you, I see, the circle is a circle, does not calculate for the hill when being displayed on the ground. My opponent started making his advance. He's using S4 OP just to draw fire since he used up all his fire operations. There's still one Sherman tank left, which is a bit problematic. My Flak 88's on attack move order, trying to get as far forward as possible. I do have a couple Fallschirmjägers left, actually a good amount of Fallschirmjägers still left in this area. So these airborne rifles can be back. This guy is just pretty much overwatching the area, preventing guys from coming from the low ground up. You got some SR trooping here, as well as another Flak 88 coming up. This Flak 88 will be in a very good position, able to engage aircraft, as well as able to engage tanks from a pretty good distance. This Panzer III, I decided to try to move forward, try to get some work done. The Locust, the Sherman tank, force got a hit and fail out. Fusiliers, once again, these airborne engineers still having flamer ammo left, forcing both of these units to surrender. Ugh. This airborne engineer has been a monster to me. And I decided to deploy some more SR Struppen, because clearly he must be running low on ammo. He has only 2 ammo left for the flamer, so I'm planning to overwhelm him. Another Locust coming on in to barrage the area. I wasn't sure why I bombed there, but we'll do quite a bit of suppression and fallback in the area. This area is starting to collapse. The Sherman tanks, the 50 cals, being very problematic. I do have some Fallschirmjägers up here. Good amount of suppression, but now these Fallschirmjägers severely suppress. This Flak 88 will take a significant amount of time to move forward. I do have some aircraft moving forward. I do have this B3 taking out this unit here. I believe a Stu took out this tank here. Maybe it was actually... Nope, it was this guy here. And we do have his last air superiority fighter in the area. We'll take out the HS-129B3, but there goes his 4th air superiority fighter, which means usually people don't get more than 4. I only have at most 4 on a dedicated airborne deck, so I do have air superiority, period. Now, he cannot deploy any aircraft unless he will risk of losing him in the first go. The Sherman tank is now cruise knocked out, transmission damage, falling back. Flak 88 has it in its sights. But I have it on attack move order, and prioritized units are not currently falling back. But taking out the AA unit is not half bad. It just helps me eliminate my primary concern. JU-88 did not get its bombing run off. I decided to bomb over here, then I decided, no, I want to bomb over here, which resulted from not actually deploying its bombs. Got another Locust as well. I'm deploying another HS-129B3. Once again, I shift-clicked from here to here, but I decided to automatically target the M20. Oh well. Killing off these units, no matter how big or small, is actually very nice. This 50 cal here, I did spot it moving forward. I'm trying to engage as much fire upon it. And you have another Sherman tank over here. The Sherman tank over here did in fact go down. And of course the Flak 88 attack move tends to shoot everything. That's not what I wanted to shoot. The 50 cal is on the fallback state. The Flak 88 cannot be placed in heavy cover like in tree groves. And now the Sherman tank got a very good hit, suppressing the unit. He will manage to get one shot off, which will bounce. Darn. Wasn't there like 8 men left? Getting a very good hit there, killing off that Flak 88. I still have 1 left, which will be in a much better position. I can have up to 3 HS-129B3s in this deck, so I have a good amount of mobile anti-tank through that. But I'm starting to lose some units over here. I do think I deployed all my Fallschirmjägers at the time. I may have only a couple SR Struppen left to call in, but now the airborne engineers are finally out of ammo and running out of men. So I'll finally kill off that airborne engineer. Finally. We have more Locusts now moving forward. I think he's out of Sherman tanks. Since my opponent has lost air superiority, he's going to receive the full brunt of my air force, which I do have a significant number of these rocket-running aircraft. At this point, I'm trying to eliminate what can prioritize the 50 cals, the AA weapons. As well, I did manage to strafe down that unit. I saw it, and I decided to strafe off all my air superiority fighters. I believe now I'm out of S-Troopment. I'm deploying these reconnaissance units, as their Fusiliers do have a good amount of manpower to go along with it, so they're actually a good infantry unit to bring in, and these ME-19s will eventually kill off these airborne rifles. More rocket running aircraft. I took out the 50 cal. Well, I targeted the Jeep, which also splashed down the 50 cal. So I'm getting some more field control over here. And now I am at 51%. I did manage to claim a couple tickets as well. And I do have these aircraft now trying to strafe down the Sherman tank, just trying to force it back. I do also have a couple bombers coming on in. Huge barrage will take out everything in the area. There goes the Locust. There goes the AA weapons. That is a massive loss for my opponent. Now he's out of airborne engineers because he did not click all 7. He only brought in the 1 card of 4. So now I can start. I did not know at the time. I'm assuming this area is littered with airborne engineers. I'm starting to make my advance over here. Notice these Scots trying to move forward, trying to engage. I think he's maybe just out of infantry. Maybe just out of infantry because he's got a card or 2 worth of 50 cows as well as a card or 2 of M1919s. He's invested way too much in his deck in machine guns, which results in versus me, who has S-Troopment, the excellent cannon fodder infantry, reconnaissance infantry that can actually fight, as well as Fallschirmjägers for elite infantry, making I have a superior infantry force. You get a Panzerfaust, 2 Panzerfausts will destroy the Scot there. There is another Scot here. And I do have 2 HS-129s left. We'll take out the Sherman tank. He's losing his armor. I just not deploy any AT guns really. I have Pack 38s in Battle Phase B, Pack 36s or 37s in A, and 1 Pack 40, and as well as I think some Martyr 2s and Martyr 3s, whatever the Martyr is for this deck. Right now, I'm focusing now the anti-aircraft weapons, so my aircraft can continuously to loiter. Got a weapon jam here from the Flak 88, shooting above the hedge grove, and resulting in death of that Sherman tank. Now, at this point in the game, was like, oh, what tanks do I have? I do have 2 Veteran C2 Stroke 3s. Probably should deploy them. Now this map is starting to concave in my favor, and I got the +2 at 3 minutes remaining, which means I'm going to win if I keep this +2. So I'm starting to push forward, claim as much ground as possible. With 3 minutes left, I need to claim as much ground as possible in order for me to win. I'm not satisfied with a draw at this point. I'm trying to get a win. And I'm claiming a huge amount of ground. At this point, I eventually realized, wait a second, my borders are extending way out of here. My opponent has nothing here, which means no infantry other than perhaps potentially a reconnaissance unit or a AT team, AT infantry, which both of those do not apply field pressure, which means I can move my infantry forward with little fear of reprisal. This bazooka did in fact get a spalling crew. There's still 1 member left. He's loading up, but the S-Troopment takes him out with the support of the Flak 88. Trying to move forward all these just mechanized vehicles, trying to claim as much ground as possible, but I got air forces constantly coming on in. We'll get a part of bit suppression here. At this point, my opponent typed in WP for well played. I replied back as GG. And he surrenders, realizing he has lost. Even though the game wasn't officially over yet, he surrendered. He realized he's lost. And that was Here's the reason why I thought this game was pretty good. Look at this airborne engineer I was dealing with on the on the south side of the map. Look at this. There goes my ace. There goes the MG. There goes 3 Ostrostruppen. There's 2 Fusiliers. It was just a very good game. Played by me, played by him. Just GG. Overall, just give a quick look. I didn't realize, but I had a hugely good kill to death ratio. I was playing the game apparently very smartly. I did not realize I was playing this smartly. I was just sending waves of Ostrostruppen versus him. I thought I was playing stupidly. And Ostrostruppen makes for excellent cannon fodder. For him, his best performing unit was this airborne engineer. But everything else is quite minor. He had a naval bombardment, but only killed these 3 units, which for something this powerful, it's generally not exactly worth it enough. This 50 cal will take out a couple extra Struppen as well as an officer. That's pretty much it. Nothing hugely performing other than this airborne engineer. However, my side got SD44 killing off airborne engineer, AT gun, Locust, and 2 machine guns, quite nice. My other Stu killing off a Sherman tank, 2 airborne rifles, and another MG. JU-88 will take out a pack howitzer, an AT gun, a Locust, and 2 Locusts, very nice. The other one takes out the other pack howitzer and AA weapon. So overall, these guys didn't do much good in kills term, but they do a significant amount of suppression, which is actually very nice. This was a very good game for both sides. I just played it apparently much more cost effectively. This is Ægion saying thank you for watching and signing off.